Vinyl Esquire.
From here on, nothing goes down unless I'm involved. No blackjack, no dope deals, no nothing. You're waiting years for this.
You're listening to the legendary Vinyl Esquire.
Vinyl Esquire.
The podcast that uplifts the DJ culture and honors our legends. Vinyl Esquire with DJ Rip.
Vinyl Esquire. Culture, truth,
You're now
music.
listening to the legendary Vinyl Esquire.
Vinyl Esquire. Vinyl Esquire.
The podcast that uplifts the DJ culture and honors our legends. Vinyl Esquire with DJ Rip.
Vinyl Esquire.
Hello world, I want to welcome you to Vinyl Esquire, the podcast that delivers culture, truth, music. Would you join me, please, in welcoming DJ Rip?
Hello world, I want to welcome you to Vinyl Esquire, and my name is DJ Rip, and Vinyl Esquire is the DJ podcast that uplifts the DJ culture and honors our legends. So without further ado, I would like to welcome to Vinyl Esquire, the legendary DJ from Philly who backed up Schoolie D and all of his classics. I would like to welcome to Vinyl Esquire, the legendary DJ Cold Money.
Yo, what's going on, Rip?
Cold Money, how you doing, man?
How you doing, man? I'm just hanging in there, working on my new album. Me and Swift. I got Swift sitting here now, DJ Swift, man. That's about it.
Wonderful, wonderful. Well, man, thank you for taking the time to do the interview for Vinyl Esquire. As I said, Vinyl Esquire is the DJ podcast that uplifts the DJ culture and honors our legends, and you're definitely the foundation and a legendary DJ from Philly.
Yeah, I appreciate that.
Absolutely. So let's go ahead and get started. So, Cold Money, can you tell me who or what made you want to be a DJ?
Well, let's see. Back in the day, when I was in grade school, actually, I had heard Flash's cuts, and I didn't even know what the hell he was doing. You know what I mean? And but my cousin had two turntables and a mixer back when I was like 9, 10, and so by him having that and playing records and me always being over his house, it kind of just drifted towards me. And then later when I heard those cuts and stuff, I was like, man, I want to know how to do that. And I searched around until I found out what the hell he was doing. And from then, there was a group in our neighborhood, 5-2 Crew, Cup Masters MCs, DJ Lock, Doc, Disco Lynn, T-Ski Flash, Schoolie D, Royal Rhyme, Pimp Pretty. And I was the little kid with them, because I'm like 4 or 5 years younger, So Doc used to cut, scratch and everything, and that's how I learned, watching him. And but I'm sitting in the wings, me and his brother, Hodge, waiting, waiting to get on the set, but they wouldn't let us get on. And then, they hog the turntables. And so we gotta wait till he get finished, then we sneak up there and start trying to do anything. And and it just progressed.
Wow. So what was your first DJ name, and when would you say you actually started DJing?
My first name was DJ Lance, and it would have to be, 85, 43, 81, something like that, 81, 82. At block parties, used to give it in the summertime.
Wow, okay. Okay, so you would say you started in 81 and your first DJ name was DJ Lance. So how did you become DJ Cold Money?
Actually, that came because that's what I used to write graffiti. And at first I used to write CAD, C-A-D. And then that one day I was sitting in my room and I just came up with code. And then that's when I started to write as graffiti. And then that's the name. That's how the name. Just like that.
So would you say that the Money moniker, is that a Philly thing? Like Tap Money, Cold Money, Cash Money?
Yeah, it is kind of. But I think that even when we originally did it like that, nobody purposely thought like that, if you understand what I'm saying.
I do. Okay.
We didn't think like that. I didn't even think of them as I was when I made cool money. You know what I mean? It wasn't like I heard that somebody else some money like that. It just kind of happened and so it must be a Philly thing because I don't think neither of us thought that way. It was individually, and then you know it seemed like everybody wanted to be money. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
It seemed like that, but that I don't think it wasn't that way.
Right. It sounded like at that time, like in New York, everything was a rock or a ski, right? So,
Exactly.
so it seemed like the money moniker, that tag, it seems like it's a Philly thing, because I've talked to Cash and Tat about it as well, and it just seems like it happened like that, right?
Mm-hmm. It just happened like that.
So speaking of that, again, you're Cold Money, and yes, you're associated with Schoolie D and the real foundation of Philly. So can you talk to me about the beginnings for you of the whole hip hop scene in Philly?
Okay, in Philly, back then in the 80s, early mid 80s, whatever, there was a lot of breaking, popping, and all that. Because I used to dance first. You know what I mean? I used to pop, but that's how it was. It kind of it hit quickly, the hip hop and rap and everything. The culture for it here changed. Like it seemed like it was overnight. It was like bam, and then everybody's got the Filas or Adidas shell nose and sweatsuits and Kangos and Gazelles and all that, and there was a lot of groups back then. You had like Disco Rat, FMD, which is Funk Master Disco. You got UFO. What's the bottom? Down the bottom. Yeah, B Force. You had a whole lot of different groups that was out that gave jams, like at a home or whatever like that. And it was fun. It was cool. It wasn't that much fighting and all that kind of shit. You know what I mean?
Right.
The 80s was the best. It was the best.
Right. I agree. It was the best for me as well. What was the first hip-hop record that you bought? And what was the first hip-hop record that you heard?
Good question. I can't even think like that. One of the first ones was like Jimmy Spicer.
Okay.
And cause I think his shit was like 78 or something. He playing like Curtis Blow. And I was thinking it might be somebody before that I heard. I can't pick the name. But hearing that first of all, everybody know the Sugar Hill Gang.
Right.
You know what I mean? That kind of broke the mold for all the other stuff that was already out to come out. More commercial. I don't want to say commercial because it still wasn't commercial. They weren't playing on the radio like that. But it was able to bring some of the lesser known but better songs to be able to come out.
Right. So in Philly, obviously those records came out of New York, and you're right there. So you literally must have had hip hop right at your doorstep immediately, right? But Lady B puts a record out in '79, right, out of Philly.
Yes.
How did that
To the beat, y'all.
To the beat, y'all. How did that particular record change things for Philly, or did it change anything?
I don't really think that the song is in itself changed too many things, but I think that by her being a radio personality, that she opened the doors at the radio station for people to have a rap show,
Okay. Okay.
And when she did that, she wasn't on the radio. You know what I mean? I mean, if she wasn't playing no rap.
Got you. Okay.
You know what I mean? But her doing that enabled to show that just up and coming new culture, music rather, and she was able to get it on the radio, and then her show has always been in Philly like what you listen to. I mean, back in the day it was like get your tape ready, you know what I mean? Get the cassette ready.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
Because Lady B about to jam. You know what I mean?
Got you. Okay. So how did you get started with Schoolie D? How did you go from, just being the DJ? And I'm not minimizing that, but how did you go from learning how to DJ and getting into that move and that mode? And how did you get started with Schoolie D?
Well, that happened, and what happened was Schoolie, like I said, they had the group 5 Club Masters and MCs, and we were their little brothers. Okay, so Schoolie started to make his first record, or he had made his first record, which was it Cold Blooded Blitz? It was Cold Blooded Blitz, and then he made Maniac, and then he wanted to do an album. He wanted one of the guys to DJ, but none of the guys wanted to do it. So one day I was coming home from school or some shit. I had my backpack on, and I was like, "Yo, man, I heard you need a DJ." And he was like, and he remembered me from being over at the house where they all used to practice at.
Right.
And he was like, "Man, you don't know how to cut." So I said, "What? Come on." And we went around my grandmother's house, and I swear she had a component set. The old, don't put the top up, and we had a turntable in there and an 8-track.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right? So I'm gonna tell you, I didn't have no money to buy. I was, in school. I had no money. I took a speaker and hooked it up and had it sitting on one, because I got the 2 lids side by side. So I set the speaker on the left hand lid, and the right hand had the turntable that was down in it. And then I took the wire from the speaker and I separated them on both sides, so I could tap the wires together, so it would be like a mixer.
Wow. Okay, so it would cut it on and off.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then I just started cutting right there, just like that. And I mean, and by then I had, look, if I did all that, I got that shit down to a science. So they used to hear me like, "God damn, well, you do that with that? Come on, man, let's go." And then went and we got some equipment, put it down my grandma's basement, and we started working on the album. Well, actually, no. Actually, we went around to the house where they do practice at, and we started working on PSK in Gucci Town. And then after that, we got some equipment, and then we went and we used to practice down in my grandma's basement. And that's what we did Saturday night. Do it. And we did Park Side 5. Yeah, Park Side 5 too. Look, that's what those 3 songs that we did was in my grandma's basement.
Wow. So Parkside is Saturday Night. That's the second album, though, right? So
correct.
Let's just take a few minutes and talk about those first records. Talk to me about the process. You said Gucci Time, because these are classics, right? You got Gucci Time, you got PSK, and you start working on the album, and you even got a couple records, or at least one DJ dedicated song on the album. And not to mention, I want to say Schoolie made the TR-909 famous, right?
Yeah.
So talk to me about that. Talk to me about those records, the whole process of making those classics like PSK and Gucci Time.
Well, Gucci Time actually was just pretty much because he had a Gucci watch. And he said, "Looking at my Gucci, it's about that time." And, like that. And the process really, we just back then, we were just in our little clubhouse, just mixing and cutting. And so we bought the 909. And, sheesh, when he bought that joint, that man, that was something really new, something really different. But when we went to the studio, we was able to incorporate like bigger reverbs and stuff like that, which is what makes that snare suck back like that.
Right.
And like that. It's hard to really say. I mean, you don't really think about what you're doing. You just do it.
Right.
And it was something that we liked, and we figured that we like that shit. Everybody gonna like this shit.
Right.
We know what good is, we know what bad is. But you always, as you being an artist and actually doing something, you don't know. There's always that line where you don't know if this is, if everybody else is gonna like it, just because you like it. You know what I mean?
Right. Well, Because the reason why I asked you that is it's this creative process, right? It's like, you know, you hear this music, it's raw, it's just him rhyming, it's you just cutting, and it's literally the DJ, the rapper, and the drum machine. That's what it sounds like, right?
That's it.
And
That's it.
Just straight raw. So I just wanted to, you know, what was that feeling like? You know, how did you approach it? Did you just go in there with a couple cut sounds and say, you know what, I'm just going to scratch? You know what I mean? And
Yeah, at first, I was cutting it fresh on PSK, and on I didn't DJ on Gucci Town. Croc did, DLB, rest in peace. He was my friend, but he was also with us as a group, and he was the other DJ, and he did Gucci Town.
okay.
And I think that as things progressed a little bit, you start to get into putting a little bit of a musical aspect a little bit more. Because if you hear some of our first records, I think we used a little bit more musical in our stuff. Once we got past that initial stage of, just the regular one word scratch, or to make it melodic, the whole song, and not just have this straight drum machine and then some cuts,
Right.
and then back out.
Right.
You know what I mean? That takes away a little bit of the rawness, but it also enhances your song. So.
Right, absolutely, and you can hear that on the second album with Saturday Night and Parkside 5-2. You can hear, you're starting to get a little bit more advanced, and on the musical side. So, how did your life change after that first album? Because that album was independent, right?
Yeah.
You guys, Schoolie self-produced it. He did all the rhymes, the beats, the music. You did the cuts. He did the artwork. It was just indie and raw. How did your life change after that album came out?
Drastically. Everything changed. You go from chairs to feet out. You go from the bus to a Benz.
Wow.
You go from, you go from members only to Andrew Marsh.
Right, I got you. Did you realize at some point, maybe not when you were making the records, but did you realize at some point that what you and Schoolie were doing, you were launching this new genre, or what they would now soon to call gangster rap?
Never.
Wow.
Never. That was, like I said before, it wasn't that much of a thought as far as like that. It was just doing it,
right?
And that's what basically made it so that they didn't want to play it on the radio,
Right.
But we're like, fuck that. This is our shit, man. This is PSK. This is how we roll.
Right. And you it was real, raw. Y'all were well, you guys were making music based off of where you were from, right?
Yes.
Absolutely. So we're talking, the beginnings here, 84, 85, right? Now we're going into 86. And now I want to know, what was your experience? Because after PSK, here comes a record called 6 in the Morning by Ice-T, right? And then a little bit after that, here comes NWA with Boys in the Hood. So what was your experience like once PSK hits, and then here comes this inspiration out of the West Coast with 6 in the Morning and Boys in the Hood, Ice-T and NWA? How did that affect you all, you and Schoolie? What was that experience like?
I can't speak for him, but for me, at first I felt violated.
Really? Okay.
I felt violated only because at that time, they didn't say that's where they got that shit from. You know what I mean? And that's where that came in. But imitation is a form of, flattery or whatever you want to call it.
Right.
So I took it as that, but at first that's how I felt.
Gotcha.
You know what I mean? That's how I felt. I don't know about Schoolie, but that's how I felt. And, but later on they went to say that, Schoolie D and Cool Money and blah, 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 blah. And so it was cool. Right. You know what I mean? That's all I wanted with the recognition, and I'm quite sure him as well, that's where you got that shit from. You know what I mean? You know, you ain't just wake up one day and know how to scratch and cut. You ain't no. You know, if you wasn't the originator of that shit, then you learned from somebody or you got it from somebody.
Right, right.
So say, come on, man, keep that 10,000. That's all.
Absolutely. So rumor has it that Ice-T, somewhere along the line, reached out to Schoolie and let him hear the record. Is that true? Do you know anything of that?
That's what Schoolie says.
Got you. Okay. All right. All right. I mean, at least there was a little something there. You know what I mean? That that may have acknowledged some kind of inspiration, right?
Yes.
Okay, cool. So, so once again, I mean, those are all classic records. Ice-T 6 in the Morning and W.A. Boys in the Hood, because you can hear, Boys in the Hood was inspired by 6 in the Morning. 6 in the Morning was inspired by PSK, right? All of these are classic records. And Schoolie and yourself go down in history as, the beginning of gangster rap. You know what I mean? And, and then you have to throw Just Ice in there. You know what I'm saying? But
absolutely.
Again, all of you are all legends, and these are all classics. So let's talk about the second album now. So you're coming off the first album with the classics, PSK, Gucci Time, and a few others. So here comes Saturday Night. Here comes Parkside 5-2. And this is on Jive Records now. So how did things change for you going from independent to a major record label with the second album?
Things changed, but that album, if you notice, a lot of the songs we had already did.
Okay, got you.
So we had a little, push and pull with them, and you definitely lose some. I won't say creativity. That's not the word, but towards your stuff. You know what I mean?
Right.
And you got, like that. But it wasn't drastic, but that's where the song Mr. Big Dick came from. I'm not going to say all that, but listen to the song, and it was about the record company.
Got it. Okay, I got you. Listen, I mean, you guys, put out, records on Jive. You know what I mean? You put them out independently. Yeah. The classic records were the independent one and the first one on Jive. Now, I understand, I'm sure the budget probably got bigger because then you started getting, videos and, things of that nature. But I always took Schoolie and yourself as, you just like to be more independent and in control of everything, right?
Yeah, there ain't no fun with somebody telling you what to do.
Right, absolutely.
And the one main thing to always remember when you're doing this is have fun. That's what you started this shit for. That's what I started for. I didn't do it over no money or I don't know, girls, yeah, but not over no money and all that. I did because I love to do it and I wanted to have fun.
Right.
And somewhere along the line, with money and contracts and relationships with people who, smile and whatever, all that can get lost in what you're doing. You know what I mean? Absolutely. Now you don't feel the same way no more. Then that shit start feeling like a job.
Got you.
You know what I mean? Don't forget, have fun.
Absolutely.
Push all that shit to the side, say fuck it.
Right. So how was it like working on the King of New York soundtrack?
That was fun. That was a good time. We had a good time. That's when we was with Capitol.
Right. So that came after the Jive deal. Is that correct?
Correct.
Wow. So talk to me about that. I mean, so again, independent Jive Records, and you do a few albums with Jive, and then you go to Capitol. Did that change the landscape of the career and the movement? Did it enhance it or make it worse?
I think that we were still coming back from off of them and in a transitional period, and some good things came out of that. Of course, the King of New York and all that. And they used the what album was that? Am I Black Enough?
Right.
And no. I'm not saying Am I Black Enough was on Capitol. I'm saying for the King of New York. Abel Ferreira.
Okay.
So Schoolie is friends with Abel, and and that's how they worked out, whatever, with the King of New York. But that happened like right around the time of Capitol.
Gotcha. Okay.
So you would think that they was associated, but it's not, because we were still on Jive. Well, we weren't on Jive, but they used the music from Jive. They used the Welcome to America. they use the oh god, we did so many albums sometimes I get confused.
That's okay. That's okay.
And so we did that album, and while they used that while we were signed to Capitol like that, and but Capitol was Capitol. You get the big budget, and but you lose not creative control, but they're all the way out in L.A. and
Right.
in Philly, and
Right.
and our recourse was maybe we should have moved to L.A. We probably would have been a whole hell of a lot of movies.
Got you. Okay. So speaking of that, coming from Philly and the foundation of Philly hip hop, how did the rest of the hip hop world, from the East Coast to the West Coast, take to y'all? Was it a lot of love or was it a lot of hate? How did it come about? How did it, play out for Schoolie D and Cold Money for the hip hop world?
Oh, it ain't been nothing but love. It ain't been nothing but love. Ever since we very first started, just about. With other artists and acts or whatever, you get your little beef here and there, but not really like that, But for the whole part, ain't been nothing but love. Most towns back then, even back then, it was just, nigga try to chump you or punk you or some shit, and see you ain't no bitch. And so, and then you cool. It's just like being, it's like being in a neighborhood. Somebody gonna try some shit, you squash that shit, and then now y'all cool.
Got you. Okay.
It was like that. Well, mostly it would be cats from New York, because we was from Philly.
Right.
And we was the only act that was from Philly. So, they had, these guys, why they coming up to New York doing shows when we, the rappers, that kind of thing.
Right, right. So who would you say, yes, because you're the first group that I ever heard from Philly. Now, granted, of course, I remember the Lady B record, but I just associated that with the beginnings of hip-hop, and it just didn't equate. The Philly thing didn't connect for me. But Schoolie D and you were. Who would you say came right after y'all? What was it Steady B that would have came next after Schoolie? Or
yes.
Got you.
Steady. It'll be Steady.
Got you. And were all of you, it's kind of hard to say a big family, but was Philly like, tight knit with, everyone?
No.
Okay.
No. Like, even though we knew everybody was from their own neighborhood, it was like that, because we used to battle, we had neighborhood battles, equipment, and, like that, but, so we all knew each other, but, we were friends, but not like that, you know what I'm saying?
Right, got you.
We ain't got no animosity or beef between either of us, and I know you know me, but aside from that, we ain't going to play basketball together. Or I'm calling you on the phone and no shit.
Got you. I've always wanted to ask you this question. In your opinion, how do you feel that, how do you gauge Philly's impact on hip-hop history? And let me just say this. From the beginning, like with Cornbread, right? Cornbread is credited to be the beginning of graffiti from the hip-hop perspective, from, so from Cornbread to Schoolie D to Steady B to Will Smith, Jazzy Jeff to Meek Mill, The Roots, and even Kevin Hart and Jill Scott, and on and on and on. I know some of those aren't hip-hop, but overall, majority of those are hip-hop artists, right? How do you personally feel about Philly's impact on hip-hop history from the DJs as well as the artists?
I think that, Philly made a cornerstone for the whole, for hip-hop in general. Because really, like, our DJs is the best.
I would agree.
you can't beat no Philly DJ. You know what I mean? I don't care who you pull out, who put a cut, who would get behind it. They can't fuck with nobody from Philly. Nobody. New York, LA, I don't care where you come from. You can't fuck with niggas in Philly.
Yeah.
Because DJing, that's our shit.
Right. So I would agree that Philly has some of the best DJs. And I do agree with the influence that Philly had on the West Coast DJs. Right? Yes. I mean, that's why I asked you the question, because I know that the DJs impacted hip hop, no question about it. Not to mention some of the first records that came out of New York were on Pop Art Records, which was a Philly-based label, right?
Yes, it was.
So continue. I didn't mean to interrupt you. Go ahead.
Yeah. No, but, you know, and as far as the rappers go, first gangster rapper. Okay.
Right.
Then you got the biggest commercial rapper ever, Will Smith.
That's correct. No question. Now, but and one of the biggest actors on top of that. But yes, but yes.
Exactly.
Yes.
Exactly. So, you know what I mean? From now, if you want to go to it like that, you got from, I don't want to say like that, but the lowest to the highest. Because you figure gangster, you to the highest, and you're Beverly Hills rapping. You know what I'm saying?
Right. Not to mention you got Rough House Records, which is out of Philly. Is that correct?
Correct. And now it's Chris Schwartz, Rough Entertainment.
Right. And Rough House gave us Crisscross, not Philly groups, but that's a Philly-based label that gave us Crisscross, Fuji, Cypress Hill, and so many more, right?
Yes, Rough Nation. I'm sorry, yes, Rough Nation Entertainment.
Absolutely. So yeah, again, I just wanted to, I felt the same way. I felt that Philly has had a great impact on hip-hop, and I
don't think people give it that, the props
credit
that it deserves. Yeah, the actual credit that it deserves.
Yeah, I agree. That's why I wanted to know how you felt, and I've asked Cash Money and Tad and so many other, Philly legends the same question, because again, I think the impact that Philly had on hip hop is unparalleled, from the DJs for sure, and then the artist.
I concur.
So what has kept DJ Cold Money busy all these years, from the 80s being a foundational member and a foundational piece of hip-hop's history from the Philly side? What has kept you busy all these years from the 80s till now?
Basically, my love for hip-hop and DJing. And now I'm working on my album, my Beats album, Cold Money Beats, Rough Nation Entertainment. It's just, like I said, just my love for it. There's no other way to explain it or say it. If I was to not do anything, if I was to get rid of anything, I would get rid of my drum machine, my turntables. If I was to whatever I'm going through, that's where I'm at.
Right.
I don't. Even though sometimes you get away from doing things and you kind of move on to doing other things in your life, if it's something that you love, you always want to have that with you, and you're going to stick with it. And no matter whether you make $1 million, if you don't make a dime, you know what I mean? I'm gonna do it.
Right, absolutely. And you've accomplished so many things in your career, with the classics with Schoolie D, you as a DJ, the films, King of New York. I know you guys were also in Big Fun in the Big Town.
Yes.
And I know Schoolie has done so many.
Yeah,
and I know Schoolie has done so many things, and from animation with Adult Swim, and so many other projects. And
Aqua Team.
Yes, absolutely. So would you say that the most current project that you're working on is your beat tape? Talk to me a little bit about that.
Okay, well, basically, getting a fine line in between DJs and the actual consumer, because I want people to play my beats, because my beats are really not, they're not break beats like that. They will be more so a song that people can rap to, and other DJs, other producers will hopefully want to use some more music, and I think everybody's gonna like it. I got some real nice up tempo. I got some slammers, and I got some smooth stuff too. So I'm kind of just putting it all together and giving you what's inside me.
What's going to be the name of the project?
Cold Money Beats.
Cold Money Beats, and it's coming out on, you said Rough Nation Entertainment, is that right?
Correct.
Gotcha, and that's Chris Schwartz, again, Rough House, the legendary label, right?
Yes.
So what's the projected release date for this project?
Well, I would say if it's a 4-part stage, I'm in stage 3. I should be finishing up probably for the next 2 months, and hopefully I can get it out at the end of the year.
Wonderful. I look forward to hearing it. I'm sure it's going to be phenomenal. You know, it's you've always done groundbreaking work with Schoolie, you know what I mean, and set trends. And it's always been raw and fun too, you know, pretty raw and fun. So I look forward to hearing it.
Don't forget to have fun.
That's right. Absolutely. How are you approaching it? What are you using? You know, using the turntables, drum machines, samples, you know, how are you approaching this new project?
Well, being the way sampling is now, I've been sampling myself, you know what I mean?
Okay.
See what I mean? So I play, I sample, you know, the drum machine, turntables, keyboard. But I'm still trying to keep it not too, you know, because I still want the raw edge.
Yes.
You know what I mean? But I don't want like a cracker jack beat. You know, not to say that nothing about that, because that had its time. You know, breakbeat album is not like that. You know what I mean? It's not the same beat just looping with a little sprinkling on top. You know, my shit slamming.
Right, got you. Okay, cool. So can you describe your DJ style and tell me what motivates you today as a DJ?
Well, my style, I'm more better as a show DJ than all the tricks and all that stuff.
Okay, got you.
You know, I know how to get in where I fit in and get out. You know, and my perception to the whole stage and what everybody's doing, that's my shit. You know, that's my shit. Being in the studio, that's my shit.
Got you. Okay.
You know, like that. But I do parties, you know, I can cut and do all the whatevers. You know, but that's, you know, but I'm 50, you know what I mean? I let the young boys have that.
Right, I got you. Understood.
You
So
know what I mean?
how do you feel about today's DJs and the music scene?
I think that a lot of music now, the rappers are better, but the music isn't. And I think that they should spend some more time with the music a little bit and just be a little bit more
Creative?
musically
Creative?
musically creative.
Got you.
And it would open up their shit. It would open up their shit. So I can't wait till you hear my shit.
Right.
Because I'm about to open it up. Because I'm going to show them what direction they should be going in.
DJ Cold Money Beats.
Yes, sir.
Incredible. So, do you still have your record collection and your turntables and some of those pieces from back in the 80s? Do you still have it? Any of that?
Some stuff I still do. But everything is digital now.
Right.
And I'm moving from here to there. I lost a lot of collection.
Yeah.
So, everything's digital now. But I still got a couple hundred pieces of stuff.
Very nice. Absolutely. I know you got a lot of memorabilia, a lot of classics over there, right?
Yes, sir.
Absolutely. So before we get out of here, Cold Money, can you give me one classic DJ Cold Money story from Schoolie D, from your touring, from your history? Just one quick story from your past that somebody might not know, something monumental.
Wow, normally I got a million stories. I don't even know which one to pick. I can say one on the radio. That would be okay.
The names will be changed to protect the innocent. Go ahead.
Okay, I'm not going to say the name of the group.
Okay,
but we were on tour, and they were on tour. We had a single gig with them in Chicago. We were late, very late. So they sent our limo back, and we had to get the cab all the way to the site. So we get there. Steady B's there. He ain't come out. Say the promoter's like, yo, we y'all gonna come. We sent y'all stuff back. You know, and if y'all want to do the show, y'all got 3 minutes.
Wow. Okay.
So I run up to Tat, and he's about to pack up because they're just finishing their set. I said, Tat, let me use your stuff. You know, we're late. He said, No problem, Cole. Go ahead. So Schoolie literally runs out on stage, and it was awesome. And they knew the words to every song, to every last single song. Okay, so our last song was PSK. And they're stomping on the floor. And this is an amphitheater. And they're stomping on the floor. Right? And like, Schoolie turned and he looked at me, and I looked at him, I'm like, yeah, we got these motherfuckers, right? So, he's like, PSK. And they're stomping, boom, boom, boom. So, Schoolie hits the drum machine. Yeah, they go, yeah, right? And then it goes, and everything goes off.
They cut your sound, or the power went off?
The whole stage went off. And everybody started screaming, oh, no. And I turn around, and I turn to the side, and I look, and I see the sound man, and he's giving me the chop. You know what I mean? Like, that's it.
Right.
So I walk up to the side. I said, yo, man, what the fuck is up? He said, yo, so-and-so said y'all can't rock it like that.
Wow.
So we had to pull y'all plug.
So, and you're not going to tell me who else was on the bill, right?
I don't want to tell you who it was. I don't want to tell you who it was. It's been a long time.
Okay.
Maybe I said too much.
Right. I got you. Well, no problem. That sounded like an incredible experience, that is, right? That sounded wow.
Yo, had me mad in the motherfucker, bro. You just about to rip that shit up.
Right.
They said, they said y'all can't do that. You know, y'all gonna be better than them. Well, they do. Son, come on, man.
Wow.
Give the people what they paid for.
That's incredible. That's an incredible story. So listen, Code, before we get out of here, how can our listeners continue to follow you?
Instagram, Twitter, Facebook. I ain't hard to get a hold of. I respond to everybody.
So is it DJ Code Money on all the social media platforms?
Yes, sir.
Great. So what's your website, or what's the way? Should they just follow you on social media to find out when the DJ Code Money Beats is gonna drop?
Yes, absolutely. And in a few days I'll hit you back and I'll give you the because I'm doing a website now.
Got you.
And I closed down my other one because somebody had got into it.
Wow.
So I want to. So I'm going to change that on that as well, almost as we speak.
So in closing, Code, if you could tell me, what do you think DJ Code Money and Schoolie D's legacy is?
I think that more so than saying the originator of gangster rap, I think that being independent was the key to a lot of stuff that we were able to actually do, because I don't think that at that time, if you was with a major label, you wouldn't have had you wouldn't have been able to say and do the things that we did.
Right, absolutely.
I think that by us being independent after the fact, the major labels, that's why they picked us up. But at the same time, that's why they picked us up, because we were doing something that was different like that. But check this out. A couple of years ago, you wouldn't have signed us.
Right. Absolutely.
You know what I mean?
Absolutely. Well, all I can say to you, Code, is, salute to you, and Schoolie D for making the classics that you did. You changed history. You set the standard for a whole new genre of music that came out, which created, hundreds of other stars, right? And, you always go down in history. You know what I mean? You guys created a lot of classic records, and no one will ever forget about DJ Code Money and Schoolie D. You know what I mean?
Hey, I appreciate it, bro. It's a lot of times it's hard to have people give other people credit for shit that they did, but again, I'll say we never planned for it. It's just like the Michael Jackson.
Right.
Jackson, but you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, absolutely.
He just was singing, and
right.
But it's amazing to me that just years later, it's like this. I'm glad I'm still here to be able to see some of it come in full rotation.
Yeah, absolutely.
You know what I mean? Because a lot of people never get to see that.
Right, absolutely. Well,
half the time, people don't like your shit until you're dead.
Yeah, that's the unfortunate thing. But the classics that you all made, will stand the test of time, and it always has. So again, thank you, Cold Money, for allowing me to interview you for Vinyl Esquire. This is the DJ podcast that uplifts the DJ culture and honors our legends. I can't wait to hear DJ Cold Money beats and what you got in store for the future. So thank you again for allowing me to interview you for Vinyl Esquire. You've now been listening to the legendary DJ from Philly, DJ Cold Money.
Thanks, Rip. I appreciate you, bro. That's what's up.
Hello world, I want to welcome you to Vinyl Esquire, the podcast that delivers culture, truth, music.
Don't be upset, don't let your mind fret. I do it to your baby, that's a short shot bet. Something niggas in the house, standing in the back. You came to run, I came to rap. I say what I wanna say. Ain't you stuck in the house that can take it away. So, let's try to teach me, my leaves and miss me. Girl in the front, I know you gonna get do it. I take you in the back, you like the horn. Don't want no more, so I call my board. You do it on the side, right on the floor. Girl, they're trying to run me like you now hoeing. The beat last night, started you was going. The big schoolie sees the end, you all know it. The big fat booties that you are going. Do it.
Our sound is raw, very raw. It's like we say things that other MCs wish they could say and want to say, scared to say because the record companies won't let them say it. So since I have my own record company, I can say anything I want. Yeah. If, our buddies do crack, we're going to say it. If Run DMC buddies do crack, they're not going to say it because the record companies won't let them say it. First of all, you can't be affiliated with drugs. But, if it's happening, we're going to say it. I don't want to be a school teacher saying, don't do drugs, don't, have sex, don't steal,
Can you give us some examples of typical words you use in the rapping?
Like ill, this, suck ass, nigga, I shoot you dead, pistol, coke, laces, crack. Things of that sort. That's how they talk. They say, yo, man, what's up, man? You don't go downtown and chill? Nah, man.